Welcome to the No Clue Podcast. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Tyler.
Mike.
We are 3 games in to both series. What are your thoughts? Where do you want to start first? West or East?
Let's go West first.
Okay, West first. First thoughts. What are your first thoughts after 2 games?
OKC is a lot more complete than the Wolves are.
Mm-hmm.
And it's frustrating because it's like because of execution.
Mm-hmm.
Like Oklahoma City has a better game plan. Oklahoma City is more committed to their game plan. They have a better distribution of like who gets shots.
Yeah.
And it's not like grenade shots. It's like solid, like drive and kick, opportunities to play and move the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of really what stood out the first 2 games. Each game went on, and you just saw the Wolves' chemistry kind of just trail off both times.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
I agree. OKC they have more capable players of executing things. It just looked like they had more guys. Just like genuinely just looked like they had more guys sometimes. And obviously, they really don't. But the amount of guys that come in and can contribute right away, that come in and already have a role, that can fit a role of the guy that just came out, they can come in and do the exact same thing. That's a luxury that really like 2 teams left in the playoffs have,
Right.
where everyone is relatively replaceable other than their main, like 2 or 3 players. Everyone else is like just you could take him out and someone else can come in and do exactly what he was doing, maybe better, which is a good luxury to have when someone, you're not really relying on someone to be hot every night, like a Isaiah Joe or a Aaron Wiggins to be hot because, okay, he's off, bring the other one in and he does the exact same thing. And Timberwolves they just don't have that, and they don't really have a whole lot to go to battle that.
Yeah.
Especially when Ant is not being very aggressive, which he wasn't being nearly aggressive enough in these first 2 games for them to have a chance to win.
That was the first game was really frustrating how Randall starts out cooking and you think, okay, like the blueprint's easy.
Mm-hmm.
As we talked about, the 2 best players are on the Wolves or should be on the Wolves.
Yeah.
And the second half, it just disappeared.
Yeah.
And obviously, a ton of credit to OKC for loading up on Randall.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like everything was wrong. It was Randall wasn't aggressive enough. Finch did nothing to help. Ant did nothing to like attack more.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like a collective, like we're not responding to the problem.
Yeah. It looked like Ant is not used to playing with someone who, like when you're the best player on your team all the time, it's hard to get used to playing to that other really good player that you have to get involved. And when Randall was cooking, and sometimes when they have shooters that are hitting shots, you see that Edwards has a hard time getting them more shots. And as a best player, normally that's easy for a lot of players. But if you're not really used to it, it comes, more difficult to them than others. Like Ant just cannot get Randall more shots when Randall is hot. He just doesn't know how to do it. At least not with staying aggressive. Also, he just thinks, "Oh, I'll just give Randall the ball now." No, like we need you to be aggressive, draw defense, then give it to Randall. But he doesn't do that enough. At least not in the first 2 games.
Yeah. And another thing, like I thought the first 2 games, Minnesota's size would kind of allow them to play inside out.
Mm-hmm.
But OKC has done a really good job of almost finding like a balance between just closing out and kind of like baiting shooters to actually take them.
Yeah.
Because they've still been closing out really well. Part of it's just all the guards they play.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's like they're keeping the Wolves a perimeter-oriented team.
Yeah.
And I think like regardless of, some of what happened in this last game, I still think that's an advantage for OKC moving forward.
Yeah, I agree. So this last game, Minnesota wins by 30. 42.
Yeah, it was a big record.
143 points.
I saw something on ESPN today that the previous record that like a up and coming champion had lost, like a team on the finals run,
Mm-hmm.
was 39.
Oh, wow.
But it's like that to me is such a random record. You get your ass whooped one time. It doesn't really like a 4-point difference. It doesn't really matter to me.
Right. After it's past 30, it really doesn't.
Yeah, you're just getting cooked. Like you lost.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, even with the teams, like once it's that point, what are we doing? Why are we out there trying to make sure it's not 49? I mean, make sure it's not 42 by making it 37.
It's really just if the bench guys are like one or two of them heat up.
Which Leonard Miller in this game played 7 minutes, had 11 points. I think that's like the first time he had double figures all season. They had 7 guys in double figures. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 7 guys in double figures. They only had 10 turnovers. They had 50 rebounds to the Thunder's 31 rebounds, 14 turnovers, and they still had 5 guys in double figures, but no one else had more than 6. But one person had 8. Everyone else had 6 or less.
And again, it was the blueprint didn't change for the Wolves.
Mm-hmm.
Ant set the tone.
Yep.
What did he have in the first quarter? Like 20?
He had something crazy, yeah.
I mean, he was like outscoring the Thunder practically.
I don't even think they did even play the fourth quarter. I don't think, right?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
But he set the tone of just attack, and it translated because guys like McDaniels started attacking.
Yeah.
That was the first couple games. It's like McDaniels is just spacing the floor. Like, I really don't care if he's even hitting.
Yeah.
To me, it's much more impactful when he's actually when Cason Wallace is closing out on him, he attacks him and gets a layup.
Yep.
And that's what you saw in this last game. Like Randall was aggressive, trying to get inside, trying to overpower Shea all the time.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we should. That's a massive weight advantage. I should be getting inside as much as I want.
Yep.
It felt like this game they finally kind of opened up to like what they're capable of.
And there was more movement from them this game, which in the first 2 games they just stood there and there's no rotation for the defense, and you don't get those Cason Wallace on Julius Randle mismatches as much when the guys are just standing there. Like the bigs didn't even have to move; they were just waiting for Julius Randle to catch the ball. Now the movement, Ant was attacking, getting into the paint. Guys were getting into places where they were drawing defense, and everyone was getting more open. I mean, guys who were off in the last 2 games were hitting wide open threes.
Yeah.
Because they had more time, more space. Yeah.
And like their shooters got some of the confidence back. Naz Reid, DiVincenzo got some confidence back. They hadn't shot well the first couple games.
Yeah.
So I'm leaning towards the Wolves tying up this series.
I am too. And that's tonight. So probably this podcast will probably come out after that game, but I agree. I think the Wolves tie it up. I think this is a good momentum game for them, even though they didn't change that much. I do think everyone should get more confidence coming out of this game.
I do think if it's a close battle, even if there's like a big comeback and the Wolves lose close, 3-1, it's obviously not over.
Yeah.
Because both teams have shown enough that like they have the opportunity to take advantage.
Yeah.
I'm curious how the OKC front court is going to continue to play.
Yeah, me too. When Minnesota is focused, it's just even Gobert, who didn't take a lot of shots as he normally does in this series, he was even more focused in this game. He looked like he was playing with a lot more energy from the start of the game. A lot of these guys just looked like they really wanted to win this game. It felt like a must-win for Minnesota, and they treated it that way.
And I'm curious to,
Uh-huh.
like, you talked about them moving well.
Yeah.
I can't. That's like a thing I can't predict
Right.
because, like, I want to believe it's like we're gonna play with more chemistry, but the Wolves could easily forget all that in this next game.
Yeah. They could.
And that to me, it's like this is where Randall and Ant have to set the tone. They just have to. Like, if we come out flat, if we come out taking bad shots,
Hmm.
if at least can we at least turn the ball over trying to make plays,
Right.
right? Like the forced shots, I don't need that.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I'm confident in the Wolves. I think they'll figure it out.
Yeah. I agree. Um, you had Timberwolves in 6 or 7.
I believe 6.
Okay.
Actually, I think it might have been 7.
I think I had 6. I think you had 7.
Yeah, I think I did anticipate them winning in OKC, which so far is not looking great.
Yeah. Well, I agree. And the crowd. Game 2, I didn't think the crowd was as crazy as they made it seem like they were in game 1. I really thought Minnesota like got some of the energy out of the arena, and then they just didn't. They just couldn't capitalize on it.
It's curious also, like, Dagnall has been subtly mixing up the subs,
Hmm.
like, throughout the playoffs. I wonder
Yeah.
how he'll continue to do that.
Yeah, I noticed this last game, Isaiah Joe was not playing the first 2 games, and he played a lot in this last game.
And it,
Uh,
like, didn't it wasn't really the like, him playing well, but the rotation felt a
yeah,
little better.
it did. Yeah.
And he's like a good transition, like, if you're gonna run a little more and take faster shots, he's one of your best shooters.
Hmm.
I I think he might have got hurt because he just kind of fell out of playing time randomly.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. And like Wiggins was getting more playing time where he really wasn't playing. It didn't seem like
It was the
that
last
consistent in minutes.
the Denver series, he was just like disappeared.
Yeah.
Not really
Yeah.
sure why. Maybe I missed it. Maybe he just wasn't playing good defense or something.
Yeah, he really relied on Keyshawn Wallace more in the playoffs than I felt like he did during the season. I mean, I know he played a lot during the season, but it didn't seem
Yeah.
like he was like, "Oh, just leave him out there, no matter like he's not
He's like
scoring. I
a
don't care, leave him out there."
maybe sixth man.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
during the season, I never saw that, and now I'm kind of starting to see some flashes.
Yeah. Yeah. And he didn't even take a shot in 15 minutes in this game, and he was minus 30 without a shot attempt.
Well, yeah, the bench guys they were blitzed by the time they got in there. It was too
So
late.
they were, yeah, yeah. I'm just surprised he didn't. He's the only player on the team and didn't take a shot. I was kind of surprising for him to have been 6 man for most of the series.
He's normally hunting them a little more aggressively.
Yeah. Okay. Over to the East. The Knicks, man.
Let's go game by game with this one.
Okay. First game. Very
Holy
winnable
shit!
game. Very winnable game for the Knicks. Fourth quarter, they looked pretty good, but you know, the last 3 minutes or so was just a dumpster fire where the Pacers make big plays. They go on a little run. Halliburton takes a step back with his foot on the line, does the Reggie Miller celebration.
I
But
can't believe it bounced up that high and fell straight in.
yeah, it was like the Kawhi one, like the Kawhi.
No, but Kawhi is like you just the softness of the bounce,
Yeah,
like, and then the second time it touches rim, you can kind of tell it's gonna lean in.
yeah, I got you. Yeah,
Bro, I'm like, dude, the fact that it's going sky high, there's no way it's dropping straight in.
right. Yeah,
And it drops straight in. I'm like, that's insane.
yeah. And Pacers pull it out in OT. I mean that was a tough game for the Knicks. That was a heartbreaker for the Knicks in Madison Square Garden. Definitely,
Yeah.
a lot of stars were there. Heartbreaker.
And you just that first game really kind of showed the Knicks' lack of focus at times
Yes.
because it's just little things.
Mm-hmm.
It's like every time you fall asleep on TJ McConnell, he gets a layup. Every
Yes.
time you don't coordinate the pick and roll, Halliburton gets to his right hand.
Yeah.
you every time you switch on Siakam, you're getting cooked. I mean, maybe I guess at this point, not yet,
Mm-hmm.
but you're just not. Every little mistake you're making, you're getting punished. You're getting punished. You're giving up buckets. You're giving up momentum. You're giving up rhythm.
Yeah, in this game, it was the switches where they ended up with Robinson on Halliburton, and Halliburton was just getting into the paint and just making a play. It was just, yeah, it was just bad every time.
It was just so frustrating. You give up a bunch of threes to Naismith because you just ignore him.
Yes.
And then you essentially lose the game on a putback and a backdoor cut.
Obi Toppin, yes. Yeah.
This just can't happen.
The Naismith shots were absolutely spectacular, and I'll give the Knicks some grace because I'm not sure like what else they could have done other than just make sure he didn't catch it. But the Obi Toppin stuff, the not boxing out, the second chance points, that's all just effort. Like it was just the game closing was not there on the defensive end.
Yeah, missing a free throw.
Yeah,
Pacers didn't.
yeah, and on offense, the missed free throws and just not getting a good shot. I mean, this is a problem they've had really throughout the playoffs, and they've been pulling out games either way. But not being able to find a good look on these last shots is just tough, man. Like Brunson, we don't need a 4 pivot shot to keep us in the game, like in a 1 point game. Like we got other players. The double teaming, getting double teamed in the paint and still getting the shot up when all the guys are looking around. No one's getting back on defense. It was just some small things like that. It was just tough breaks for them.
And a lot of the late game stuff in the first game, you could chalk off as conditioning. Like
Yeah,
the Pacers just play more guys, they're more fresh.
yeah.
And then you get to game 2. And again, a lot of people were brushing it off saying, crazy game, a lot of wild stuff for the Pacers. Like the Knicks are fine.
Yeah, another very winnable game for the Knicks.
But the problem is, again, this is where it's like you go back, the focus wasn't there.
Focus was not there.
You didn't learn from the actual like film mistakes you could have learned from.
Yeah.
You still aren't coordinating switches well. You're still not matching up in transition well. You're still like getting kind of killed on the glass when it matters.
Yeah, and the shot distribution on offense was not there this game.
No.
I mean, we had Hart took 3 shots in this game in almost 30 minutes.
I just don't really get. I wanted to kind of leave it the question till we cover all of the games.
Yeah.
Because it's very interesting considering now, they've gotten back in the series a little bit.
Yeah.
But in the second game, it's more of Brunson's still playing great. You're just kind of leaning on that.
Mm-hmm.
The wings can't find a good balance. Like you, in the previous rounds, OG Anunoby was one of your best players a lot of the time.
Yeah.
You're not doing anything to get him shots?
Not at all. He's just like stealing his shots, basically.
It's like when Brunson he gets defended well, OG could get something. Like, Where's the structure? Where's the distribution?
Right.
And then the worst killer to me is you're not playing defense really at all, evidenced by the fact that Siakam was getting phenomenal looks the entire game, and he had 39.
Yep.
Like, it's one thing if you started defending well and he was just too hot. No, you gave up great looks.
Yeah. And Siakam is one of those players that is it's tough for a coach to play against because you have to like pick your poison on whether you want to send a Mitchell Robinson to try to go out and contest those shots, or you want to have a guard on him who can contest the jumpers but might get killed on the post ups. But Siakam is just so good at both of those things.
Yeah.
You just have to pick your poison with him, and they picked wrong in game 2. Mitchell Robinson.
To me, they were getting killed by both poisons. Double the speed.
They were, but it was because every switch, it was like, okay, are you going to switch? Okay, switch. Mitchell Robinson is trying to guard him, and he can't go out and defend the jumpers. Then when they did switch and Mitchell Robinson was on Halliburton, they just threw it to him in the paint with Brunson or Bridges on him, and he was just exposing them.
And I'm watching the game thinking like the only hope is Cat maybe comes alive,
Yeah,
which I was a game early on that. But
yeah,
Thibs gave up on him before we got to see that.
that was that was
Like,
atrocious. The
bro,
sitting
in
cat,
hindsight, especially what we just saw,
yeah,
that couldn't have happened in game two.
Cat played 27 minutes in this game. Mitch Robinson played 29. All the other starters basically played 29.
Bro, how again, I don't get how you're watching a game that your team isn't getting stops and
Hmm.
you're like, dude, I gotta sub in, I gotta go more defensive with my lineup.
Yeah,
Like Mitchell Robinson wasn't getting stops. They were getting him switched off of whoever he wanted to guard.
yeah,
And by the way, Mitchell Robinson, you could say, is doing a great job on most of the guys in this series. He's doing a bad job on the one guy that's most important, his own man.
hmm,
He's been getting cooked by Miles Turner.
yes,
It's been the commentators have been like it's shocking to them how it's like, oh, Mitchell Robinson's blocking guards left and right, and then Miles Turner's blowing by him.
yeah. I mean, at the end of I think it was game two. At the end of game two, he helped out, and they kicked it out for like one of the biggest shots of the game because he
And
helped too much.
again, it's like Dibs, we're like losing the war by making bad choices.
Yeah,
If you left him out there and he sucked, I would have been the last 2 minutes. I would have been talking about how Cat's got to be better.
yeah,
But you took him out for Mitchell Robinson, who again, even if he's playing like the best he could play, there's such a ceiling on his impact.
Miles McBride played more fourth quarter minutes than Towns. Then,
I mean, that's disgusting.
yeah, in a close game. Yeah, it was a 5 point quarter. Fourth quarter was separated by 5 points, and Miles McBride got 2 more minutes than Cat.
That to me, again, while Indy is kind of punishing every mistake you make, you're not making less, at least in these first two games.
Right.
And that was really the frustrating part going into this third game.
Yeah, it was. It was. So going into this third game, let's talk about like early in this game. What did you see differently? Did you see anything differently?
No.
Me either. Well, other than the lineup change, Mitch Robinson starting.
This is where like the Wolves getting such a dominant, imposing will set with Ant setting the tone and Randall feeding off of that. The rest of the guys like the Knicks did what we thought they would, where like they're not getting swept.
Hmm.
Like you knew they were gonna battle in at least one of the games they were gonna find a way. I
Yeah,
didn't know what that would look like.
yeah,
It infuriates me that it was trusting Cat, leaving Cat out there. It
yeah,
was the solution.
yeah,
But it's like sometimes the NBA is so full of talent. It's unforgivable to not depend on it when it's showing out. Like,
yeah,
I don't understand how Tibbs has been making some of the decisions he's been making.
yeah,
And to me, this game was just a proof of how competitive the Knicks are.
yeah. And their depth came in, and the depth all contributed well. I mean, Shamit hit like a huge. The three he hit was like one of the biggest shots of the game. It was like a major momentum three. And he had 11 minutes. DeLon Wright had 13 minutes. He played really good defense while he was out there.
I thought DeLon Wright and Shamit got big stops.
They did.
Like
Absolutely.
Indiana tried to pick on them and they held their ground really well.
And they made good plays. They both had, I mean, Shamit had 2 assists. DeLon Wright had an assist, and they were big assists.
Mm-hmm.
And Miles McBride, again, had a really good defensive game. He didn't shoot that well, but he's a good spark. Like, he comes in and he makes something happen. Um, yeah, he's aggressive. He attacks hard. He goes and tries to dunk on Siakam. Like he's doing that kind of stuff that the starters just really don't do stuff like that.
And again, did you see anything that gives you more confidence moving forward?
Um,
other than more
like
subs, I guess.
yeah, I was gonna say the subs gave me a little more confidence, but I think their defensive focus in this game was different because I think that when they made stops, they immediately looked to capitalize on them, or they like really. I noticed when they made big stops that the next offensive possession looks a little more focused. It looked like they made sure they got a good shot this time, or they moved the ball better after stops. I won't say after baskets because like they still they're basically the same after made baskets, but I think after stops, I could see a little more focus in saying like, all right, we got to stop, we got to get a basket off this stop. I
Yeah.
think that fueled some of their runs, some of their momentum in the game, especially towards the end, because they really focused in the last few minutes. They really focused on getting stops.
I do like the fourth quarter a lot.
Yeah, I didn't see a
But
lot of bad shots off of good
yeah.
defensive possessions.
And like in this game, Thibs did a good job of Brunson didn't play well, so we could sit him longer. Like
Hmm.
in game two, Cat was scoring a lot, but because he wasn't getting stops, you sub. Like I don't get that. But
Hmm.
here it's like Brunson's not scoring. I'm okay with him sitting a little bit longer.
Yeah.
And I really like the third quarter actually because they
Hmm.
still weren't playing well,
Yeah.
but you felt like we have to get more people involved if we're gonna have a chance.
Yeah.
And I saw before even the subs came in, OG made much more of an effort to be aggressive.
He did.
I thought Bridges was really hunting shots because at one point Cat and Brunson like had nothing going.
Hmm.
And I thought Hart was really like playing faster.
Hmm.
So they kind of set the tone once the subs came in like let's just battle. Let's make plays, let's play faster, let's be involved.
Yeah.
And that to me it's like if we could stay focused while doing that, we have a chance.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. I agree. Um, in this game, Brunson was the only player with a minus in his plus minus. Uh, just fun fact there. What do you think about the Pacers in this game, though? So we're kind of speaking from the Knicks, like defending the
Most of the way.
Knicks side. Yeah. What do you think about the Pacers overall in this last game?
The problem for me, it's and this is objectively why I don't have a lot of Knicks confidence,
Hmm.
is how much fun the Pacers are having.
Mm. Yeah.
That's what's killing me. That's what game one was like demoralizing to me,
Yeah.
where it's like you multiple times had full control and they just snatched it right back.
Hmm.
And they were talking like trash to the crowd,
Yeah.
the confidence. Like when they learned that Halliburton's foot was on the line, they were like more excited to play.
Yeah.
You remember a couple years ago when KD did it against the Bucks, and
Yeah.
The Nets like died. The Nets are like, we had it. That was our chance. We lost.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Pacers were the complete opposite.
They were energized.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's been to me like the Pacers have been hungry to make this almost a rivalry.
Hmm.
It just that's why I'm nervous. Like I need the Knicks to really commit to matching this team's competitive fire.
Hmm.
And I've seen everything I needed to see from the Pacers. Like at this point, win or lose the series, they're the best team in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, I would agree with that, especially as far as depth goes, as far as full team construction goes. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, because you just lost a kind of a heroic Cat game. The
Hmm.
Knicks didn't show anything that they were a better team,
Right.
and that's gonna be the blueprint. It's Brunson's gonna have to be incredible. Maybe OG or Bridges gives them like a phenomenal game.
Hmm.
Maybe the bench goes crazy once,
Hmm.
but again, the Pacers have so many tools at their disposal.
They do.
It's just there's the depth is just so overwhelming. That's why they could punish. They don't even have to play their best, and they could punish your mistakes all the time.
Yeah. Yep. And they there's so little pressure on Halliburton and Turner to like and Siakam to really play great all the time. As long as they're just okay, they have all these other guys that can contribute and step up. And just the fact that they're threats gets all these other guys in open, like better shots.
Compare
Especially
them.
guys like TJ McConnell um and Shepard. I mean, Shepard would never take a shot if the team wasn't good
Bro,
enough to get open
he
shots.
was the last guy that I was waiting to like do something positive.
Yeah,
He finally is like actually stepping up and helping them out. But and Tony Bradley out of nowhere.
I know. I didn't even know he was still in the league.
I don't know what Thomas Bryant did wrong. Maybe he rolled his ankle, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. He
Uh,
was just DMP coach's decision in this game. He wasn't hurt.
yeah, maybe it's just like again, it just proves the depth. Like Carlisle is sitting there. He's got like such a full, complete roster to choose from.
Yeah.
And I told you this off air. To me, they remind me of all the best qualities of the D'Antoni Phoenix teams.
Yeah.
Like I thought this loss kind of shows some of the downside where they could easily take their foot off the pedal
Mm-hmm.
and kind of start settling, start to kind of not generate mismatches, take bad shots.
Yeah.
Like it's easy to fall back to bad habits like that.
It is. Yeah.
But now you lose, you wake up as a unit, and I'm fully expecting the Pacers to just take.
Steamroll.
They're gonna try. That's why I'm worried that they're really gonna try,
Right.
and the Knicks don't have a lot of room for error to match it.
Why do you think Mathurin didn't play much in this game, or really in this series so far? He hasn't.
To be honest, he's not a good. He's not a quick 3-point shooter.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
You think he kind of hurts their spacing a little bit?
yeah, because they haven't needed an extra playmaker,
Right.
which is kind of surprising. I thought they would.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's funny, we thought teams would slow them down. Teams really haven't been able to do that.
Right.
But they haven't really needed what Mathurin has done for them over the course of the season.
Yeah.
Like, be an extra playmaker. They don't really need that. Be a top tier athlete. They're matching up fairly well. They don't really need that.
Yeah. They don't really need his mismatch ability either. I mean, he's a good one-on-one scorer, and they just haven't really had to play that game.
Mm-hmm. I think they're gonna start sneaking him more off ball action
Yeah.
to like get him a little more aggressive and get shots for him. Because if they get him involved, I mean that's just another headache for the Knicks on top of the multiple other headaches.
And he's a 3-level scorer, which most of
Yeah,
the guys are just 3 and D, or McConnell's just paint and D.
that like when they kind of started settling,
Yeah.
it would have been interesting to see if Mathurin had been involved up until that point,
Yeah. I
like
was
how they
wondering that
play
too.
off of that.
I was wondering that too. That's why I asked about him not playing, because I thought there was sometimes, like, especially when Knicks go on a run, I could
Yeah,
see a moment where, like, all right, bet we'll just give it to Mathurin, and really no one on the Knicks can stay with him one-on-one, really. He just doesn't he's just not that aggressive. But when he wants to be aggressive, he's one of the best one-on-one players on the Pacers.
yeah.
So, yeah. All right. So you got Pacers in the next game, and you got the Wolves
And
or Thunder in the next game.
so far, my picks: Wolves and 7 is on the table, and Pacers and 5 is unfortunately on the table.
It is. It is very much so. You got the Wolves or Thunder for this next game?
Wolves.
Wolves. Okay. All right. I agree with both those. I want to pick the Knicks, but I'm not sure. The Knicks have not really given me any confidence. So
Let me ask you. For the Wolves, let's assume they win today.
yeah,
Who wins that next one? That real big game 5.
back in OKC,
Yeah.
I think the Wolves would. I think if the Wolves win today, I think they'll win the next one too.
Okay.
And then I think OKC will turn up in that Minnesota game.
Similar to the Nuggets series last year.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that the Wolves, at least in this game, they showed me this last game, they showed me that when they want to come out focused, they just look like a completely different team when they really come out. Because like Ant, from the beginning of this game, his game face was on. He was celebrating into the camera. He just looked like he wanted to win this game, and I think that when they go to OKC, he's going to bring that energy. Win or lose this game, I think they'll be the same that first game at OKC. I don't think they want to lose that next OKC
It's
game.
such a mindset for them to just like attack.
Yeah.
I genuinely, it'll be so disappointing to me if they lose one of these next two games.
I want to mention one thing too about both game threes. I think that the other teams, the Knicks and so the Timberwolves were at home though, but the Knicks and Timberwolves both, to me, kind of adjusted to the officiating and to the physicality because I noticed, especially the Knicks, the first 2 quarters of all the Knicks and Pacers games, the Knicks look like they're being bullied. And then third quarter, they kind of adjust like, okay, that's how we're playing. All right. And then in this last game, obviously Brunson, Cat were both in foul trouble, but they were playing just more physical in general in this game. And it just looked like, okay, well, now we know what the refs call, what they don't call. We're gonna up our physicality. And they really did that in this, especially the second half of this last game. I think the Timberwolves came out the gates last game being more physical. Like
Yeah.
guys were pushing and throwing guys on the ground for rebounds. Um, Loose balls got really physical in the Minnesota game. Um, it just looked like everyone was trying to rebound a lot harder and not really worrying about who they hurt in the process. And that's kind of what OKC has been doing. OKC's been really scrappy with that. They've been reaching, they've been going for jump balls hard and stuff. And I think Minnesota wasn't really adjusting to it until this last game.
Like I completely agree, but from another perspective,
Mm-hmm.
my favorite part of the adjustment is they defended Shea with discipline.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That to me, it's like not that he's like, I guess he is baity with contact,
Yeah.
but it's still to me, it's always like I hate when the defense complains about that.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's still
Like they don't do
responsibility
it.
on the like it's coming. Like if you get your hands out of there, you're not getting your hands hooked.
Right.
So, and that to me, it's like Jaden McDaniel stays out of foul trouble. That's huge for their rotation.
Yeah.
And that to me, like honestly, I would kind of look at almost baiting Shea to play better.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like if Shea is cooking and we're defending him well,
Yeah.
the other guys aren't really doing shit. It's a lot of it kind of looks like the Knicks where it's just Brunson operating by himself.
Yeah.
And OKC really doesn't switch up what they do until Shea starts to play a little bit worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's where I think the Wolves, I don't know how much they're going to kind of try to finesse that.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that's really a good entry point for them to get the series back.
Yeah, I agree. Yep. Yep. Find that balance of how aggressive you want Shea to be because
Yeah.
if they do let him do that in and out, like he's getting foul calls and he's making shots, that's a recipe for disaster a lot of times. But to your point, I think when they make them switch it up, either him not playing well, but if they D him up, or him being overly aggressive but not getting fouled, it is a different look. You can kind of dictate how OKC plays with that.
Yeah.
You're right.
Credit to Shea though, because he'll at a certain point he'll like try not to settle.
Mm-hmm.
And to OKC's credit, I think collectively they kind of feel like we really got to get to the rim more.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see.
Yep. Yep. All right. That's all I got. You got anything else you want to talk about?
Not big. I mean, not really. We'll get into it after the NBA season ends, but the WNBA has been fun.
Yeah, it's off to a good start. Really good games.
A lot of fun
already. Was that yesterday? Yesterday it was like 3 really good games, like all at the same time. Even though Seattle Storm demolished the Aces, but the other 2 games were both very competitive games. It's funny. WNBA. I don't know if they've ever had so much franchise and like dynasty making moves as they did in this offseason. And I shouldn't say moves, but decisions where really determining the team direction, these franchise direction decisions. And that's been interesting to see because you look around the league and some teams are a lot younger and you're seeing like a pure rebuild of teams, which they just really, frankly, just didn't have the talent to do before. When I say talent, I mean the amount of players where you could have a team of, like I was watching the Mystics and they had a lineup in there where everyone was either a rookie or second year player. And that just hasn't been a thing like that often in the WNBA. Like,
Yeah.
um,
I think it kind of parallels the NBA because a lot of times when the teams are aggressive to make changes, it kind of reinvigorates the viewership, I think.
it does, yeah, yeah. And this season, I'm seeing that a lot more. I'm seeing teams that stockpiled up on vets. I've seen teams who just stockpiled up on draft picks and young players. And you're seeing kind of these years, like some of these teams are going to go through a full rebuild year this year. Some of these teams are going to go through like a really tear down year where we got a bunch of older players that we just know we just need to hold it down for one season before we do something else next season. So I'll get into that. Like you said, after this season, we'll go deeper into that probably because
We start to get to the quarter mark, the third way, a third of the way into the season. You really get a better feel for the teams.
yeah, yeah. All right. As usual, thank you for listening. Follow us, all that good stuff, and we'll see you guys probably in 2 more games.